I think we should rename this series Moksha Express. The way I have to go so fast.
So,
I'll tell them that Indica wants everybody to get moksha fast.
Swamini, we are live. Let me start with the opening.
Welcome everybody. Om Namah Shivaya.
I'll start with the opening. This one.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very warm welcome to the second day of this 3-day talks on Atma Vidya Vilasa of Sadashiva Brahmendra, a great Avadhuta who lived in 17th, 18th century, and a great text of Nididhyasa. And I welcome Swamini Svatmavidyananda ji, and I thank her again for doing this wonderful text. And without further ado, I request Swamini ji to start today's class.
Thank you very much to Nitin and Indica Moksha for this opportunity to conduct this Moksha Marathon. This is what I have renamed this series because you have to go so fast and take in quickly the essence of this text. And I think Indica Moksha, what I was telling Nitin, wants everybody to have moksha fast, and that is why this text is a condensed moksha marathon for quickly quickly reaching what is called the Avadhuta status. Okay, so let us begin with the opening prayer and then we'll take it from there. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We saw earlier in the earlier class, in the earlier session, we saw a couple of things. What did we see? We saw we saw two big themes. How the Guru is very important in the pursuit of this knowledge. One cannot become a jnani or an avadhuta for that matter without studying with the Guru. And the reason for this is that the problem is with self ignorance, and the antidote to self ignorance is what? Self knowledge. So it is not a matter of doing, it's a matter of being, it's a matter of discovering who one is. And for that discovery to happen, one cannot do it on one's own because there is kartra karma virodha, a subject object contradiction. So the subject, who is the one who is the knower? The subject. I'm the knower. I want to know. What do you want to know? You. So how can you be subject and object at the same time? And especially a subject that can never, ever be objectified. And so, therefore, this is the problem with the trying to understand this by oneself. One gets in one way, it is just not possible. And also, the other reason why it is not possible to know oneself by oneself is because the I is not an object. It doesn't have name. Oh, but I do have a name. That is the name given to this Karya Karana Sanghata, this body mind sense complex. And oh, but what about Brahman? Brahman is the word Brahman is indicates you. What about Atma? Isn't my name Atma? Yes, you can say your name is Atma. It's a better understanding than many other things that we know of. But the word Atma again indicates that. Why? Because it cannot be objectified. And so it just indicates that, and that I being already self-effulgent, self-evident. You don't need a means of knowledge to establish this I, but you do need a means of knowledge to know what this is and to understand it as free of all limitations and all guilt, hurt, etc. Excuse me. So then we saw that that is why this entity called Guru is needed. And what does the Guru do? The Guru does not, drill a hole in the head and pour the knowledge in. No. The Guru simply removes self-ignorance and then underscores what is already there. One is already free, one is not a samsari, one is not subject to papa punya, one is already what one wants to be, free of sorrow, fear, limitations. So what the Guru does, we this is just a summation of yesterday. So what of the previous class. So what the Guru does is remove the ignorance that is, as it were, superimposed upon this I, like even cataracts in front of the eye, EYE. So just when the cataracts are removed, the world is suddenly much more bright, beautiful, and colorful. Similarly, when the cataracts of duality, misinterpretation of the I, misapprehension of who one is, when that is removed, then there is just glory, and the glory of oneself shines. And then this is what is called neti neti, na iti, na iti, na iti, not this, not this, not this. And then the Guru also iterates what one is by positively reaffirming statements such as Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Atma. We saw some of that in the first session when we were studying those the verses, verse by verse. Okay, and so that was one topic that was taken up yesterday in general, without really referring to the particular verses, just alluding to them. And then the second topic that was taken up yesterday is a much more involved and advanced topic of the role of Maya. First, the role of Maya in creation. Maya being an appendage, and as though appendage, and as though power that equips Brahman with the status of being creator, sustainer, resolver, projector, sustainer, resolver of what? Of this entire jagat of names and forms. So we saw that. And how does she do that? She does that by putting on the jiva a avarana, a covering of self-ignorance, which hides the truth of oneself from what? From oneself. Yeah. So it hides one's own truth from oneself. This is the problem. This is why that this is called avarana. Avarana is a technical term for one of the shaktis of Maya as it pertains to the individual buddhi. The buddhi is, as it were, covered. Atma is not covered. The buddhi is, as it were, covered by self-ignorance, which is again removed by self-knowledge through the teachings of the Guru. So this is avarna, and when the buddhi is covered, the other shakti takes over nicely. What is the other shakti? The projective power called vikshepa shakti. And this vikshepa shakti, the projective power, makes us see the world as nana. Nana doesn't mean maternal grandfather here. Nana means many. Okay. Yeah. So, many, many. So that which is one appears and obtains as though it is many. This is the handiwork of this as though power called Maya. Maya is not a parallel reality to Brahman. Maya is an as though power, non-separate from Brahman, but Brahman is not Maya. Maya is Brahman, we can say that. And so we saw that, and we'll have to come back to Maya a little bit later. But this is at the collective level. At the individual level, Maya messes up the head. How? by by giving one a series of complexes. I am not good enough. This one is the problem. That one is the problem. I don't love myself. I don't like this. I don't want this. Nobody loves me. Nobody wants me. A whole litany of all kinds of complexes. This is what Maya does. And so at the individual level, there is also, as a result of this, there is a projection. As a result of this means this ajnanam. And what is the cause of this ajnanam? Maya Shakti. So, because of this ajnanam, I have my own, the I means the jiva. The jiva has its own projective power. Oh, this one is an idiot. I don't like that one. The world is full of pain, sorrow. And these are all assumptions. And sometimes they become the ingredients of a new religion. I am helpless. I am patita. Patita means I have fallen. And then so what if you have fallen? I need a messiah to pick me up. Save me. Help me. And then very conveniently say, this is a nice opportunity for some charismatic individual and narcissistic and charismatic to appoint themselves as the savior and say, Aja, I will save you. I am your savior. Said who? I myself said that. And we find all these people going after one person, self-styled godmen. The world is rife with that. And then those people, it's like the blind leading the blind, and then they can go, they will tell you, they will themselves fall in a ditch, and everybody, all the followers also fall in the ditch. And then what? And then in some cases it has happened in the United States. They will say, okay, you know what? Doomsday is coming. And why doomsday means when everything annihilates. Apocalypse. Apocalypse is coming. Okay, so what should I do? Why should we wait till then? Let us kill ourselves off right now. And then everybody takes a cyanide-laced orange juice, and then the whole congregation dies. Suicide, mass suicide. It has happened. This is all because of this, the vulnerabilities of the individual are mined by unscrupulous people who parade as people, religious leaders, or people who are starting a new religion, whatever it may be. So this is not, so but this is subjectivity. That I am fallen, that I need to be saved is subjectivity. My guru was asked one time, this was, in New York, there was a Millennium Conference, United Nations Millennium Conference of Religious Leaders in the year 2000. And that time, he had finished his talk. He was leaving to the hall to go for his lunch, and then somebody thrust a microphone and said, Swamiji, Swami, please, what is your message for the new millennium? And he said, oh God, please save me from all saviors. This was his message. Fabulous, isn't it? So this we have to see that this is one's own subjectivity. This is how the effects, the karya, the effects of Maya grip the person on the individual level, thinking I'm vulnerable, thinking I'm helpless, feeble, and I need help. Yeah, of course, everybody needs help. But this does not mean you go and ask for help where? In some dangerous situation, you go and ask for help. That is not the idea. But yet, this is how the people think these feelings to be real, rather than a projection. Then this is projections about oneself. Then there are projections about other people, about the universe, about God. All those things have to be the spoof has to be called. They cannot be ratified, and you cannot keep saying that I'm going to live under these projections. Not possible, not desirable. And so, at the individual level, one's own projection becomes one's own vikshepa. The Maya Shakti causes the individual to have vikshepa. And then what else? And then there is the avarna is also there. What is the avarna at the individual level? I am, my own childhood is covered from me. This is called the unconscious mind. My own childhood and the pains and hurts of the childhood. The unconscious, I don't know, that's why it's called unconscious. Suddenly I'm ticked off. Somebody does something, somebody says something, and I get angry. I yell at the person. And the person is puzzled. What happened? Where did this come from? How did you do this? What went wrong? Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I screamed. Later on, one apologizes, but in the moment, one is in the spell of the unconscious mind, and that unconscious mind is what? Is nothing other than this Maya Shakti, the karya of Atma Ajnana. The karya, the effect of Atma Ajnanam in the form of the Maya Shakti as it pertains to, as it manifests in the individual psyche. This Maya Shakti. We saw that also yesterday. I'm just reiterating this so that it is clear. So then, at the collective level, we have Vikshepa, projection, which is all the names and forms in the universe. We have Avarna, that which covers the individual from the truth of oneself. At the individual level, also Maya causes Vikshepa, subjective projections of the mind that is mired in ignorance and strong preferences and prejudices called Raga and Dvesha. At the individual level, there is also the suppression of earlier memories, and this becomes what is called the unconscious mind. This becomes the avar. Now, here is the fun. Okay, so this is not a recap. So now I want you to listen, thinking, oh, yes, this is all been there, done that. No, this is now new. Okay, now here's the fun. At the collective level, what is it that you try to remove? Do you try to remove avarna, or do you try to remove vikshepa? This is a very interesting question. Avarna means covering. That is what is removed. You cannot remove the each and every name and form. Why? It is Ishvara's srishti. It is Ishvara's creation. You cannot remove what you did not create. You cannot remove every name and form and say, go away, I am into Advaita, so you are Dvaita. No. So what you remove is the covering in your own mind, in your own head, which makes you come under the spell of the vikshepa. Come under the spell of the projections, thinking each and everything to be different from one another. So avarna is removed, and avarna is a synonym for Atma Ajnana. But at the level of the collective, this is at the level of the collective projection of mind. At the individual level, it is the opposite. We remove our own projections. We, we remove our own projections. We reduce the subjective projections, we remove our own projections, and as a result, what happens? The unconscious mind is not so much triggered as long as the projections are reduced and removed. This is what it is. Because you cannot do anything about the unconscious mind. It is Ishvara Srishti. The avarna at the individual level, in the form of the unconscious mind, is not removed. You just make friends with it and integrate it. And that is done in a very nice way. At the level of the individual psychology, at the level of the individual, the avarna cannot be touched. What is touched is you reduce your own projections, you eliminate the projections, and then the avarna doesn't have the leg to stand on. The avarna uses the furniture in order to, uses the table and the chair and the microphone of the vikshepa in order to make itself known. So you cut that connection, and that is what it is. So now, having said this much, now we need to go back to the verses, and I will share the text again. Where did it go? It is somewhere here. Hold on. Let me share the text. Then we can enjoy the text together, because there are certain verses which I can summarize, but really they need to be read properly. Okay, because the metaphors are very, very beautiful, and I would like to for you to have the enjoyment of that. I'd like you to do that. Are you able to see? Yes, I hope so.
Yes, Swamini ji.
Yeah, okay. So we'll start from verse 23, because that's where we left off yesterday. Very nice. Chapalam manakurangam charu grihitva vimarshavaguraya nigamaranya vihara shrantashyete svadhamnikopyekah. Chapalam, very nice metaphor. So, kuranga, deer. Manakuranga. Manakuranga means the deer which is in the form of the mind. The mind deer. What is it? Chapalam, restless. Keeps going, but it is beautiful. Beautiful it is. Charu. It is beautiful, but then it is, that charu word can go both ways. So the beautiful deer called the mind, but which is also restless. And if you watch the deer, it can never stand still. It just runs here, there. That's why if you have a icon, a statue of Lord Shiva, he will be holding the deer in his hand like this. He will be holding the deer. And so that means he has overcome the restlessness of the mind. So Lord Shiva stands for that which has overcome the restlessness of the having a say over the ways of the mind. So then charu grihitva means happily trapped it. Trapping it happily grihitva. How? In the vagura means net. In the vagura of vimarsha, discrimination. Having trapped the fickle mind, if the fickle deer in the form of the mind, in the net of the discriminative intellect. Then what? Nigamaranya vihara vishrantah, vihara shrantah, shete swadhamni kopyekah. We'll see the second line a little later. This itself is quite a lot to unpack. So here the difference is made between the mind and the intellect. In the in the Sanskrit language and in the tradition, there is a difference between the mind and the intellect. What is the mind? The mind is that for which you say, never mind. You cannot say anything about the mind. It is totally going all over the place. It is like a manduka, what is that called? Frog. It leaps from one thought to another. Before you say, hey, where did the frog go? It has already gone. Once I had to catch one small froglet, baby frog, that had just come inside the house. I said, okay, I went after it with a towel, with a soft towel, so that I could trap it and take it outside. So then it was tiny, small, only 2 inches. Then I'm looking here, it was right there. Okay, by the time I brought the towel, it had gone somewhere else. Then I looked and I said, oh, now it is somehow climbing the wall. It is there. Okay, now I got it. So then I slowly went and I was trying to trap it, but it saw me from the corner of its eye and then it jumped somewhere else. and it took almost 1 hour to be able to catch it because it was so quick, and not only so quick but so unpredictable, this little blessed frog. And it gave me the run, and it must have also been very hungry after that. I hope it found some nice flies. That's my wish for it. So it was very quick, and it was unpredictable. You could not predict from here which direction it was going to jump, whether this side or that side, or straight ahead or behind, or cardinal directions, non-cardinal directions. You had to be kind of prepared. Then finally I caught it by making it come into the middle of the room, so that there was just empty space, and wherever it went, it could not just hide somewhere. And then finally I was able to trap it in the little cloth, and then take it outside. And so this is the mind. A very nice analogy. But here the mind is not the frog, the mind is a deer. Same thing. Even a baby fawn, which has become, somehow lost from the mother. People have shown this in what is that, National Geographic and all. We see this. The baby fawn separated from the mother, or the mother has been hunted and killed, and so the SPCA wants to come and take care of this fawn and then rehabilitate it and then leave it back into the forest. Right now it needs milk, it needs care, it's somebody can shoot it, or somebody can eat it, some animal can eat it. So then they want to take care of it, but it just runs around and jumps around like a mad little thing. It's amazing how much energy those legs have. And they have no fat, only bones, skin and bone. It is so lithe. And I saw this video once, and this fawn just made them run around, made them tired. And so that is how the mind is. The mind means that shallow aspect of the thinking faculty, which is called sankalpa vikalpatmakam. Now I have this thought. No, that doesn't feel right. Now I have that thought. No, this is not right. Now I have another thought. No, that's not okay. I'll do this. I think I'll do that. This is what is called manakuranga, the mind which is taken over by this deer. Cute, but then terribly annoying. Doesn't go where you want it to, goes somewhere else and takes you along with it. And so this is the mind. Then there is a deeper faculty of the mind, which is called the mana, which is called the intellect, buddhi, which is capable of vimarsha. Vimarsha means logic, reason, discrimination. Discriminating between what I want, what I don't want, etc. That is what the job of the intellect is. Now, if I were to let the mind run and go after it, then what happens? I am hijacked by the mind. But here, and that's what one does most of the time. But here, in order to become an Avadhuta, in order to enjoy what Sadashiva Brahmendra enjoys, one has to do something else. What does one have to do? One has to let the intellect, which is the decisive faculty, prevail. A deeper faculty of the inner instrument, a decisive faculty, because underneath the shallow ideas, should I do this, should I do that, should I go here, should I go there, why this, why not this, underneath that is, underneath those currents are the placid waters of the intellect, very sure and very, very evolved, and possessed of an inner wisdom which is guided by Bhagavan. Oh, the mind is not guided by Bhagavan? No, the mind is guided by you. Yeah. So the mind is guided by the ragadveshas, which is you. Strong preferences and prejudices. So you go deeper, that wisdom is there. What I really want and what I don't want. And that wisdom speaks, this is not a good idea to do this right now, because then I'll have to suffer the consequences of a stomachache or of a lifelong heartache or of any kind of an ache. And so if I eat this cake, I'll have a stomach ache. Okay, see, silent. Cake becomes ache. Yeah. So this is what I have to understand. And so, but usually what happens, the person doesn't wait for that understanding, but just goes like the deer frolicking, like the frolicking fawn, goes all over the place and lets the mind run the show, but not the person of knowledge. The person of knowledge traps the fawn very nicely in the net of the logic and the intellect. So the mind is, the fawn is not killed. See, it's cute after all. The fawn is not killed. The fawn is just made to be inactive. The fawn is inactivated and suspended from interfering along with the thinking process, along with the planning process, along with making one's mind, making the intellect stable, and then going with one's ambitions and ideas, even with the pursuit of the knowledge. If you let the mind run, then there will be no knowledge pursuit, because the mind suddenly looks at something and wants that. 5 minutes ago, it wanted what? The knowledge. And then now, 5 minutes later, it wants something else. And so, therefore, the mind is overpowered by the intellect, not the other way around. So, that is the first line. Second line, Nigamaranya Vihara Vishrantaha. Shrantaha means tired, exhausted. Exhausted by roaming in the forest of the Vedas. Nigama Veda, forest of the Vedas. Oh, but the Vedas are wonderful. Why is the Jnani tired of roaming in the forest of the Vedas? The forest of the Vedas here is the first portion of the Veda, which is Karma Kanda. And what is important to know about the Karma Kanda? It's a treatise of wish fulfillment. Oh, you want money? Do Chandi Homa. And huge, lot of expenses, lot of things, and lot of people come. And then you feed them, and then after that they go, and then somehow Bhagavan sends you lots of money. That is what is called Shri Sukta Homa, Chandi Homa. Oh, I want obstacles gone from my life. Do Navagraha Homa. Like this, all these things are there. And the Avadhuta, the Jnani, the one of self-knowledge, is tired of this kind of wish fulfillment. Is not interested in that. So even if one is roaming in the forest of wish fulfillment, where you can pluck the desirable fruits of your wishes by doing a little homa and the fruits come into your lap, you don't want it any longer. Why? Because every wish of yours is fulfilled as soon as you get this self-knowledge. But how? How is every wish fulfilled as soon as I get this self-knowledge? Because the power of the knowledge is like that. Because the Atma Ajnanam is so rampant. The self-ignorance makes you feel like you're lacking things. You're lacking things. You don't have enough. You are not enough. And you will never be enough. This is the problem. And so therefore, what do? You overcome that. You overcome that by the power of the self knowledge, by the grace of the Guru, by the grace that of Bhagavan, etc. You overcome that to understand that the only thing that can fulfill me is getting rid of these complexes. The problem is when the complexes are taken to be real, the first portion of the Veda shines for those for whom they have not been freed of the complexes connected to the self. And so therefore there are many options, many choices, many wants, many needs, and many longings. And the Veda is so compassionate that for those longings, what does it do? It says, come on, doesn't matter, do this yajna and get this, whatever you want. Because what I really want is hidden in the forest of all these desires. So in the forest of this wish fulfillment, the yogi, the jnani, is totally sick of that forest. And so therefore goes to sleep. Shete goes to sleep where? Swadhamni goes back home. Where is home? The home of Satchidananda. the home of this overflowing Ananda, which is oneself, which is freedom from all longing. That is the home where the rest is taken. That is the idea. Verse number 24. दारुणचित्तव्याघ्रम् धीरमनः खड्गधारया हत्वा अभयारण्ये कोऽपि स्वैरविहारी जयत्येकः दारुणचित्तव्याघ्रम्. Now, what to do with, see, now that I'm not minding the mind, I tell the mind, never mind, I'm going with the intellect. And the mind is now the deer which is trapped. Okay. Then what happens? The emotions rise. Hey, what about my feelings? Feelings start to become peelings. Okay, yeah, they just fall apart and they are crying. Oh, now the mind which was in charge of wish fulfillment and going here, going there, and being like a restless deer is now trapped. Is now told to sit, trapped by the net of logic, trapped by the net of vidya, self knowledge, trapped by the intellect, which knows better. But then there is another aspect of the mind called chittam, the emotive aspect. That freaks out. Literally, literally freaks out. Ah! That's what it does. And then it becomes very, very, very angry. Because when the desires are thwarted, anger comes. This is what the Bhagavad Gita tells. So the main cause of anger is I did not get my way. That is the primary cause of anger. And so then it turns from the feelings, it turns into a ferocious tiger. Ah, what turns into a tiger? The whole bunch of feelings and the faculty of the mind that has just to do with the feelings called chittam. A terrible tiger. Daruna Vyagraha. So, chitta Vyagraha, the feeling tiger. Feeling tiger becomes very angry and threatens to spoil, sabotage the person's what is that, the person's pursuit of the self knowledge, threatens to sabotage it completely. Dharma chitta vyagram. So now dhira manaha means the someone who is who is adhira means buddhiman, the one who is one who has let the intellect prevail over the emotions. So this is disturbing. Okay, disturbing means this now gets violent. So khadgadharaya hatva, having vanquished, killed off the tiger, slayed the tiger. How did the person slay the feeling tiger? The feeling tiger is slayed by the thinking sword. Yeah. The sword of knowledge, the sword of discrimination, which is sharp, sharpened by the Guru, sharpened by the Upanishad stone. The Upanishad stone sharpens the sword of the intellect, which is used to kill off these feelings. Oh, but the psychology says the feelings are important and we have to talk about our feelings. Okay, talk about them. This is after talking about them, okay? That's why I told you it's an advanced text. If you want to keep talking about them, talk about them. Make some more friends. That's all. Make some more friends, talk about them, share, have a support group, and then you bring the dish of despair, and somebody else brings the dessert of hopelessness. Have a potluck, okay? Yeah, talk about them till the cows come home. Nobody is saying no. But after talking about them, you can't talk about them your whole life. This is madness. It's a waste of a life. And talking about them does not reverse them. It only rehearses the feelings and it only keeps them going. At some point, you have to reverse the feelings You can't just keep rehearsing the distress. And so this is what psychology also says. If you go to the therapist and keep crying for 1 year about the same thing, they will also say time to do some work on this. In the beginning, they'll let you cry. They'll say, yeah, you've had such a hard life. It is very sad. Yes. Oh, mother was like this. Oh, so sad. Father was like this. Oh, yes, I understand. They will be very sympathetic in the beginning. But after a while, they will say, what are you going to do about this? Just by talking, some relief is there. Yes, agreed. But one has to do the inner work, and that is slaying not the feelings, slaying the power the feelings have to overpower you. Who are you? You are a person who is we forget Atma and Paramatma here. No, you are a person, a conscious being enshrined in a body, mind, sense complex that has a swadharma. You have a purpose in this life. You have come here with certain roles, certain things to achieve, certain things to attain. And if you keep crying all day long, who is going to pay the bills? Sit and cry, and then you have one more thing to cry over because I can't pay the bills. One more cry comes. And so therefore, this advice is given here that the power, the Vyagra is not one sorrow or one thing. The Vyagra is the collective embodiment of the feelings overpowering the intellect. And that has to be slayed whenever it attacks. You can't, whenever one is attacked by the feelings, sometimes you can let the feelings out. It is safe. You are in your house, you can sit and cry to your heart's content. Nobody minds. It's okay. But then, if you are in an important meeting and the feelings are disturbed and then you get angry, the feeling tiger comes out. You have to slay it then and there. Why? Because it's a job interview. Not even the first day of work. This is the job interview. And here you scream at the interviewers, the prospective, the future bosses who are sitting there. The director of the company, the CEO, everybody is there. And then you say, what do you mean? You can't ask me all these questions. This is not fair. I know. You read my resume. I know I've already sent this. What do you keep on asking like this? If you say like that, they will say, thank you very much. Don't call us. We'll call you. Bye. That's what they'll say. So the feeling tiger cannot come out whenever, that is the unconscious mind. You have to train it to not come out whenever it is not invited. In psychology or whatever, in a psychotherapeutic situation, you invite the feeling tiger and then you have the therapist, you hide behind the therapist and let the therapist, tackle the feeling tiger. So with the help of the therapist, you face the tiger. But here, the tiger is coming at a very inopportune moment. And so what does the Jnani do? The Jnani is able to kill off the tiger, which is in the form of the wrong feelings at the wrong, pouncing at the wrong time. And then, Hatva, having killed it off, what does the person do? Abhayaranye kopi, some person, Swaira Vihari Jayatyekaha. So Swaira Vihari means the one who is who has no rules, who is just roaming around freely. Can you roam around the forest freely? No, because there's always fear of wild cats, tigers, lions, hyenas. But here the tiger is killed off. And so now from Bhayaranya, from the forest of samsara, it has become Abhayaranya, the forest of fearlessness, where only the knowledge of the Upanishad abides and blooms. We'll be seeing that. Very beautiful verses are coming up. Hang in there. And so, Abhayaranye, in the forest of fearlessness, Kopi, this person, Swaira Vihari, means the one who roams freely according to his or her own desires. Jayati ekaha. Jayati means is victorious. Because all the feeling tigers have fallen, gone down. Verse number 25. Then this addresses. So now the Jnani, having done all this inner work of slaying the feelings tiger, not letting the feelings overpower the knowledge, and then doing all this kind of work about gaining the knowledge of the Upanishads, etc. What does the person do? How is the person there? And this 25th mantra, a verse, is going to answer that question. Sajjana hridaya saroja unmilana karadhikara prasaraha eko yati varapusha nirdoshashcharati chidgagane. Chidgagane charati yativara. Yativara ekaha yativara pusha. Pushan, pusha. Like Atman, Atma, Nakaranta. Pusha means sun. What kind of sun? Yativara Pusha. Yativara means the best of the yatis, the best of the sages, the greatest of the sages. So the sun-like sage. How many suns are there? One, at least on this planet, okay? At least in this solar system. In some certain other solar systems, according to Hubble, the one telescope, and its Dada, its grandfather, which is what is called James Webb Telescope, which sees so many things which we did not even know were there. So those telescopes, what do they say? They say that there are solar systems with two suns. One planet revolves around two suns. So you'll never have night. You'll keep on having day. So, but here we have only one sun. Thank God, because otherwise we'll have to change all our Vedanta poetry, because the sun is likened to Atma. It's a very easy thing. Self-effulgent and only one. So it lights up everything and it's only one. But if we had two suns, all the Vedanta poetry would become nirarthaka. So, ekaha yativaraha, ekaha pusha. So, like this one sun, only one sun, and like this single sun, this single person of knowledge, charati. Charati means moves around. How? Nirdoshaha, free of all blemishes. This is not a correct analogy because we know now too much about the sun. Earlier, we just saw the sun, which couldn't even see the sun. It was really bright. And it was all bright without any kind of a kalanka, without any kind of spots. But now we know better. We know that the sun has some spots. And it's burning itself out. It will become yellow dwarf, blue dwarf, etc. in a million years. Don't worry now. Okay, now you're fine. But people get worried about all these things. So this sun moves around nicely, but we know it is not spotless. In fact, just last month, NASA released a picture of a smiling sun. So the sunspot had two eyes and a smiling face, smiling emoji, which is very special. I'm sure many of you saw that. So this is not a correct analogy because we know too much about the sun. But still, if you see the sun with the naked eyes, you don't see the spots. You need a telescope with proper filters and everything. But so the analogy is fine if we just keep it at the level of the naked eye. So just like the sun, the spotless sun moves around. This yati moves around where? Gagane, in space. The sun moves around in space. The sun is spotless and a great beam of light. And similarly, the yati sun The sun who is now the Yati, not S-O-N, okay, S-U-N. Yeah. The sun like Yati, who is also one, single, and then who is also blemishless, free of papa punya, free of guilt hurt, fully into dharma, and so incapable incapable of flouting dharma, free of flouting dharma, charati, where what kind of space? Chid ghagane, in the space of consciousness. So, what is the sky? Consciousness. And what is the sun? Yati. And what kind of sun? Spotless sun. So, the spotless Yati. The Yati without any guilt, any hurt, any regret, any wants, any pain, sorrow. These are all could be the potential spots. So, the spotless Yati moves around in this sky. What is the sky? In consciousness. Consciousness means in one's own self, in that awareness, which is free. And awareness means just simply I am. That understanding. The I is not in the form of a thought. In fact, you can have a thought of the I, that's different. But the I shines independent of thought. That I am, that witness consciousness, in that this one Yati moves around, free of guilt, free of hurt. Why? Because that Yati, that sage, has become one with that awareness. That ascetic has become one with that awareness. So there is no disturbance whatsoever. Moves around freely. And then while moving around, what happens? Sajjana Hridaya Saroja Unmilanakara Dhikara Prasaraha. So this ascetic, what does the ascetic do? The ascetic, Sajjana. So the ascetic is like the sun. What does the sun do? The sun has some. The sun just shines. How does the sun shine? With the help of the rays, which are spread out. And what are the rays? The rays are, that is the example. And what is exemplified? What is the Darshtanta? The Darshtanta, the rays, are the thoughts of the Yati. And what kind of thoughts? What kind of thoughts will the person of knowledge have? The person of knowledge always has thoughts of the Upanishads. Thoughts means thoughts of the Upanishad, even we cannot say. The Upanishad has become him or her. There is a oneness with the Upanishad, and the thoughts that go out are just about the Upanishad oneness itself. So those oneness rays in the form of teachings. Thoughts are the teachings. And so the oneness rays of this sun-like Yati who is moving through the space of awareness, through the sky of awareness, without any guilt hurt, and the rays of oneness, what do? They capture the rays of oneness, bless the hearts of the people. Bless the hearts of the people. And what happens to the hearts of the people who receive the rays in the form of the teachings of oneness by this sage? The hearts open and blossom like the lotus which blossoms in the presence of the sun. Understood? Yeah. And what kind of people? Sajjananam. Sajjana Hridaya. Sajjana Hridaya Saroja Unmilanakaraha. So the one who is the opener of the hearts, the heart lotuses of the good people. Good people means dharmic people. So that's why this does not apply to serial offenders. So the serial offenders may come and sit in front of the sage, but nothing happens to the heart because they haven't reverted from wrongdoing. In our tradition, wrongdoing happens. And then what is important is to repent, to do prayaschitta, and to revert, to stop that wrongdoing. See, the Valmiki, the author of the Ramayana, was actually a highway robber. He used to tie up the people and rob them completely. And then he was told by Narada. One day he happened to capture Narada. I think it was his good karma to capture Narada and tie him. He was angry because he said, give me your bag, give me all your possessions. Narada said, I just have 4 chapatis that was packed for my lunch, for my dinner. You are welcome to take them. No, I don't want chapatis. Stupid idiot, I want gold. And he said, I don't have any gold. Somebody packed me something to eat. That's all I have in my bag. I don't have anything. He got angry and tied him up because Narada tried to give him advice and say, you're catching a lot of papa. You're catching all kinds of wrongdoing. I think you need to revert from these ways. You need to turn back. Who are you to tell me? If I'm catching wrong karma, I'm sharing it with my family. Okay, go ask your family if will anybody share your bad karma. I'll wait here. So he ties Narada up to a tree. And then what does he do? He says, okay, I'll go and come back. And then none of his family, his mother and father say that we are already old. We don't have any place to go. We are just sitting here. It is our bad karma. The wife says, I already have enough bad karma because I'm married to you. and I was fooled in the marriage. Nobody knew this is what you're doing for a living. And the children, being typical teenagers, said, Dad, just deal with your own karma. I don't want to take your karma. I never asked to be even born. So, you deal with it. Then a very different Valmiki came back and said, oh my God, they are not sharing my bad karma. What's going to happen to me? And Narada said, there is a way out. Nothing will happen to you. Just meditate on Rama. And he meditated on Rama till the cows literally came home. And then he was sitting in one place. The ants, without moving, the ants built an ant hill. Valmika it is called. And so the one of the ant hill is called Valmiki. And so this is what it is. And Narada happened to pass that same way again and dusted him off because he said, oh my God, the world is changed. Even the anthills are chanting Rama, Rama, Rama. It wasn't the anthill chanting, it was Valmiki still chanting, unmindful of the ants building a home around him. And so he dusts him off and then says, okay, you are now freed of that papa. You have to repent. That's why Sajjana is the one who has not swerved from dharma, or if they have swerved from the dharma, they are now in repentance. And for such people alone, their heart lotuses open with the knowledge of oneness given by the sun like Yati moving through the space of the pure awareness and freely giving this knowledge to whoever wants it. And sun-like heart blossoms, freeing it of pain, sorrow, etc. So nice, so beautiful. Now the time now has come. What is the time? The time has now come to stop sharing this. Why? Because now we are going to very soon take a 5-minute break. Okay, so we'll take a 5-minute break. Come back, don't go away. Some very nice verses are still there. All right, and a big shout out to all of you who are staying up late. I think it is worth it. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. We'll be back. Om. We will be back now. Very nice verses here. So the sun because Atma. Sun is because of the Atma sun, and is sun like Atma. So that is the idea. So the sun, what does the sun do? The sun moves around and lights up everything else. And it lights because everything is dependent upon the sun. And the sun also lights up what? The sun lights up the lotus, causes the lotus to bloom. The lotus blooms in the presence of the sun. And this is a very common Vedanta metaphor. The lotus is likened to the heart, which is closed due to sorrow, pain, distrust, lack of shraddha, and all these things. So the sun is the sunlight of knowledge, and the sunlight of knowledge makes the heart open. That is the idea. It makes the heart open. How does the heart open? The heart opens because of this knowledge of oneness, which is being given by the sun. And what kind of sun? The sun of oneness, one sun. So this one yati, which is the light of all lights, roaming around in the space of consciousness, gives this knowledge to the people, blesses the people with the thought rays of this knowledge, vritti jnanam. The knowledge is always in the form of vritti. And so this is the since the knowledge is in the form of vritti, then vritti means thoughts. So then in the teaching situation, there is one akhandakara vritti that is created, a vritti of oneness. That's when one has an aha moment. Oh, I think I got it. And that is what is the vritti of oneness. That is what it is. And so this vritti of oneness is the one that is causes the heart to open. Yes, I know I'm not this. I know I'm not small. I know I'm all. That understanding. So the vritti of oneness, the sage freely gives in the form of the sun rays, which open the hearts of the people who have reverted from all kinds of wrongdoing. And that's why even the Upanishad is told, in the Upanishad, Kathopanishad, it says, do not give this knowledge to anybody who has not come back from wrongdoing. Na avarito duscharitat. The one who has not returned from wrongdoing, na deyam, this knowledge must not be given. So like this, it talks. And so this also, that's why Sajjananam, for the people, good people, dharmic people, then only the hearts are caused to blossom with the knowledge of the Upanishads. That is the idea. Then, now having discussed the sun, which is only one, what else is only one in the universe? Moon. The next thing is dedicated to the moon. Kubalaya Vikasa Karanam Ajnanadvanta Kaumudi Prajnaha Shuddho Munindra Chandraha Surasevye Lasati Vishnupade. So, Kubalaya Vikasa Karanam. So the the sunlight is responsible for blooming the lotus. The lotus blossoms in the presence of the sun, while, trivia, Vedanta trivia, the water lily blossoms in the presence of the light of the moon. This is what is Vedanta trivia. Okay. So what blossoms in the light of the sun? Lotus. What blossoms in the moonlight? Water lily. Lily. Okay, so Kuvalaya, lily here. So Kuvalaya Vikasa Karanam, that which is the cause of the blossoming of the water lily. Again, the heart. It's just a different, it's so beautiful. It just keeps on going like this. It's very, very nice. So Kuvalaya Vikasa Karanam, the cause of the blooming of the water lily. And then how does the water lily blossom? Water lily in the form of the heart blossoms by ajnana dhvanta kaumudi prajna. So, Ajnana Dhvanta means the one who dispels the darkness of ignorance with its cool light. Kaumudi, moonlight. So, the Prajna, the Yati, who is all knowledgeable, who is enlightened, who has self knowledge. The Yati is the Prajna, and what does the Yati do? The Yati spreads the moonlight, which dispels the darkness of ignorance. And how does it do it? Softly. I mean, moonlight is soft. Even sunlight, you can say, I can't even look at the sun. Here you can look at the moon and enjoy the moonlight. And in that soft unfoldment of the knowledge, one is totally transformed. That is the idea. So, Kuvalaya Vikasa Karanam Ajnana Dhvanta Kaumudi Prajnaha. So, who is this Prajnaha? The Prajnaha, the one of self-knowledge, is the cause of blossoming the the water lily hearts of all the people who are struck by, who are struck by self-ignorance. The cool moonlight that dispels the darkness of self-ignorance. And Shuddha Munindra Chandraha. So the Indra of all the Munis, the sage of all the sages, the best, the most exalted among the sages, is free of Papa Punya, himself, herself, and like the moon, Lasati shines where? Vishnu Pade. Vishnu Pada we'll talk in detail, but here it means in the abode of oneness. In that abode of oneness, Lasati dances, shines, shines, flickers, dances, shines. And what kind of Vishnu Pada? What kind of abode of Vishnu? In that abode of oneness, which is Sura Sevya, worshipped by the gods, worthy of being worshipped by the gods. And why is this abode worshipped by the gods? The abode of oneness is desired also by all the devatas. In the Upanishad, we see Indra pursuing this knowledge. Indra, who is the king of heaven, still feels incomplete and pursues this knowledge. Another celestial also we see, who is that? Narada. We see Narada pursuing this knowledge. We see Indra pursuing this knowledge. We see who else? This Agni, Vayu, all these celestials pursuing this knowledge. Yama pursues this knowledge. How do we know? Because he is able to teach Nachiketa, so he must have also pursued this knowledge. So all the devatas want this knowledge, Sura Sevya. This Pada, the Pada means goal. The end is called Pada. So it is called the Pada of Vishnu. It's not some place like Vaikuntha or anything like that. That is not how it should be taken. It is Pada means it's not like the abode of Lord Vishnu, but Vishnu means all pervasive. All pervasive. So the one that is all pervasive, that the abode of that all pervasive Atma, Brahman, which is without a second. Reaching again, because one has already reached, one has to know. So reaching which, gaining which, one is free of sorrow. One is free of pain. One is free of all kinds of issues. So reaching which one is free of all kinds of issues, that kind of an abode one has reached, and reached means gained through this knowledge. And that is what the Muni, that's why it is called Munindra Chandraha. So the moon in the form of this Muni, Lasati means shines and in the abode of Vishnu, abode of this oneness. That oneness which is even craved for, longing, even the gods long for this. Because this is what Lord Yama tells Nachiketa in the Kathopanishad. Devaihi api vichikitsa pura. This Atma knowledge has even been looked for and analyzed by the Devas. because it is, it is very much everybody wants this knowledge. Everybody is literally longing for this knowledge. But how did you become a deva without this knowledge? You don't need a knowledge to become a deva. You need punya vishesha. You need lot of punya. And then you become a deva, and then you wish you were back in the human realm where you could pursue this knowledge. This is what happens. Okay. Yeah. So the yati causes the hearts to bloom in the oneness, as the cool light of the moon. The wisdom is the light of the moon. The yati is the moon itself. And then makes these water lily type jivas who are craving to be opened by this knowledge of oneness, makes them open and reach the abode of oneness, understand that they are that abode of oneness which is longed for even by the devatas. Very nice. And then another one. So first he was, now this is all these sky metaphors. First he was what? He, she, the yogi was what? Sun. And then after sun, what did he, she become? Moon. Now we have to visualize the yogi as a cloud, rain cloud. Okay, it's all in this space of consciousness, Chid Gagana. So now let us read the next one. स्वानन्दामृतशेकैः अन्तरसन्तापसन्ततिं शमयन् चित्रमचञ्चलवृत्तिः चिद्व्योम्निभाति योगिवर्यघनः. Antara, not antara. Yeah. Swanandamrita sekaihi antara santapa santatim shamayan. Chitram achanchala vrittihi chidvyomni bhati yogivarya ghanaha. Yogivarya ghanaha means the yogi of yogis. The most exalted of ascetics. What happens? Shines again. Bhati shines. Shines not as the sun now, not as the moon either, but as the cloud. Then you can have an argument with me, or you can ask a question: how does the cloud shine? Cloud is not supposed to shine. In fact, cloud stops the sun from shining. That's what we think. But here, shines means abides. Because the yogi is the shining self. And the shining self must not be taken literally here. Shines with this knowledge of oneness. So the rain cloud here is heavy with the knowledge that frees one from samsara. So in that way, shines means appears as evident. That's what it means, shines, okay? Appears as evident. So the yogi varya ghanaha means the cloud. So the yogi cloud, the yogi rain cloud, the exalted yogi rain cloud shines. So, and then where? Chidvyomni, in the space of consciousness. That is all same as in the previous verse, which is also the same as in the previous verse. Where does the moon go? In space. And where does the sun wander? Move? In space. Where does the cloud wander? In space. In space. And what is this space? The space of awareness, free of guilt, hurt, pain, sorrow. That is the space. So, Yogi Varya Ghanaha, the yogi, the exalted yogi cloud, Chid Vyomni Bhati. Bhati shines in the space of consciousness. Makes a wonderful picture, Chitram. Very picturesque cloud. Like when you draw a nice grey cloud, maybe the sun is behind it and some diffused rays are coming out. There is a silver lining, you can say, and that's why it shines. You can imagine, no? And then what kind of a cloud? Achanchala, an unmoving cloud, meaning it's ready to rain. If the cloud is driven away by the wind, no rain comes. The cloud is there, but then a big wind comes from a certain direction, and then what does it do? It disperses the clouds. But an unmoving cloud, which is there, nice, dark, and gathered there, you for sure know it is going to rain. Correct? That is the idea here. Very, very beautiful. So, what is that unmoving cloud? What is that unmovingness? That achanchala vritti, the vritti of oneness, which we just talked about, the knowledge of oneness shines through this cloud, and that knowledge of oneness is the potential rain which is being held by the yogi cloud. The yogi is the cloud, a dense cloud, ghana. So the yogi is this dense rain cloud holding the vritti jnanam, the knowledge of oneness within herself, himself, and then moving, staying in one place in this vast, in the vast realm of awareness, in the vast space of awareness, unmoving, picturesque rain cloud, staying right there. What does it do? What does it rain? It rains Ananda Vritti, Swananda Vritti, and Amrita Vritti. It rains the knowledge of immortality. It rains that knowledge of Ananda. Whose Ananda? One's own Ananda, Swananda. And sekaihi. Seka means the shinchanam, the abhishinchanam, the sprinkling. Yeah, sprinkling. You see, because if it is a terrible downpour, it's not enjoyable. Yeah, can you go sit in a downpour? No, you can't stand in a downpour. You just feel like running and catching some shelter. And because it is sharp rains, it's not fun. But a small sprinkling of a drizzle, an auspicious drizzle. It's almost there, it's almost not there. Is it fog? Is it rain? You wonder. But there is this just a little sprinkle. It's sprinkling. There you say, nice. On a hot, hot day, you stand under the sprinkle, and then you, in the sprinkle of this cloud, you feel good. And then that is exactly what this, you can imagine. So what is this sprinkle? The sprinkle is this little teaser of the knowledge of oneness. Tattvamasi, the sprinkle of Mahavakya, which is yet to be unfolded, yet to be internalized. The sprinkle of the knowledge, a small hint of the knowledge. You are not this body. Oh, thank God. Immediate relief. You are not the sum total of your pains and sorrows. Thank goodness. You are not your feelings. You are not your sickness. You are not your omissions and commissions. You are not any your hurt, guilt. You are not any residue of the papa. Nothing you are. You are not any of these things. What are you? You are Ananda. So those kinds of sprinkles, what does it do? Shamayati. It puts a cessation. It stops in its tracks. What? Santapa santatim shamayati. Santapa means afflictions. The afflictions do not come by themselves. They bring a whole parampara, they bring a whole generation of them. First affliction, oh my God, I'm subject to death. Oh, and I have a fever coming on. Is it COVID? Is it something worse? Oh my God, I have a pain. Maybe I have a lump in my throat. Or is it cancer? Oh my God, what is happening? And then that is the affliction. Okay. Does it stop there? No. It brings a santati. Santati means it brings along its children, its grandchildren, its great grandchildren, its great 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 grandchildren, making you completely colonizing the mind and the heart, making you mad. fit to be tied. Okay. And so, what is the children of this thought? What are the child of this thought? The child of this thought is, oh my God, what about my loved ones? If it is cancer, how will I tell them? This is what the person thinks. And then after that, oh, I don't have the money for the treatment. And will the treatment work? I don't know. I don't have money for treatment. Where will I go? And what will happen to my children? What will happen to my grandchildren? And what will happen to all of these things? What will happen to my money? What will happen to my house? Will I have to sell my house in order to afford the treatment? Oh no. Will all the loved ones leave me? Will my friends avoid me? And all these things. This is the santapa. Santapa is already there. The worry is there, the affliction is there. And the santapa santati. And the santati means its children, it burgeons. Any kind of worry burgeons into these needless thoughts. And so all of them are immediately made shanta by this knowledge. And what is the knowledge? In the form of a pleasant drizzle, which immediately cools off all the affliction. And the pleasant drizzle is in the form of one's own ananda and the knowledge that one is not subject to pain, to sorrow, to affliction. Afflictions can come perhaps and affect the body, but not the person who is in fact like the yogi with this knowledge, non-separate from this yogi. So the yogi now is the teacher moving around in space like a dense cloud of ananda and of oneness in the form of these thoughts of these little drizzles. The drizzles are that thought which is in the form of the teaching of this oneness, which makes the yogi free of, which makes the people with a host of afflictions, with generational afflictions, completely quieten. Completely the afflictions come to a standstill in the face of this knowledge. See how beautiful? Very, very nice. So now, enough of this moving about in space. Okay, we change the metaphor a little bit. So now we are in the garden. So what kind of garden? Filled with fragrant and beautiful flowers. Okay, and then who is the yogi? The yogi is the cool wind spreading the fragrance. Very nice. Okay, so let us read this. So let me share the text. I have to share the text. सुमनस्सौरभमञ्जुल सञ्चारनिवारिताखिलश्रान्तिः संयमि चारुसमीरः विहरत्यानन्दसंविदारामे. Very beautiful. So, Sumanah Saurabha Manjula, meaning the beautiful garden. The garden. Garden here is Arama. Arama is garden because you don't get Arama after going there. That's why you can revel in it. That's why it is. So, in this garden filled with fragrant flowers, who, which have the power of removing all exhaustion. The exhaustion comes from wrong thinking. Physically, one can be exhausted. Why? Because you did lot of work. Okay, one day you are tired, but that is just a local exhaustion. For that, the remedy is rest. That's all. You're tired, take rest. You're sick, go to the doctor. This is just at the level of the body. But then, most of the time, one suffers from mental exhaustion. Shranti here is mental exhaustion. And why? Because the physical exhaustion travels to the mind, because the I notion is very much there with the body. Because of the Dehatma Buddhi, the I notion, it travels to the mind, it travels to the senses, etc. And as a result, there is no respite. So the physical exhaustion will also not get better, because the mental exhaustion is now compounding the physical exhaustion. Physical is tired, okay, go rest. That's not what the person does. What does the person do? Why am I tired? What's happening? I'm getting old. Oh no, now I won't even be able to do one thing. One day the person is not able to go for a walk. The body feels heavy, and you put one foot in front of the other. You just take a short walk, you come back, you're not able to do it. Okay, no problem. Take rest. No, what's happened to me? I have to get my 10,000 steps in. When am I going to do that? At this rate, I'll get fat. This is all mental exhaustion. The poor body does not even have time to recover, because the mind is now suppressing the body and making, and affecting the rate of recovery. Absolutely. Because thoughts are powerful. They have a way of doing this. And so therefore, this Vishranti, the Shranti, the tiredness is a very compounded, complex tiredness brought on by Dehatma Buddhi. So, Dehameva Atma iti Buddhi. Deha eva Atma iti Buddhi. The body itself is Atma iti Buddhi. So the body itself is I. This kind of a thinking, that is what compounds this exhaustion. It's a exhaustion, samsaric exhaustion. And then what happens? Then the yogi says, come to my garden, and takes you to this garden of wonderful wild flowers. What are these flowers? The flowers of the oneness, the flowers of the knowledge of the oneness of the Upanishads. Fragrant flowers. The first fragrant flower is what? It is the beautiful rose, having the fragrance, Tattvamasi fragrance. The other one has Aham Brahmasmi fragrance. The third one has some other Prajnanam Brahma fragrance, the Mahavakya, the knowledge of oneness, which is in the form of the fragrant, beautiful message of the Upanishads. Then if the fragrance is there, what spreads the fragrance? Air. The wind spreads the fragrance. And who is the wind? Samiraha, Charu Samiraha, the gentle wind. The gentle breeze. Actually, we shouldn't even call it wind. It's the gentle breeze in the form of the great sage who moves around. Viharati Ananda Samvidarame. Moves around in the garden of the Atma, in the garden of the Ananda Atma. Samvid means Atma. So, in the garden of the knowledge of the I, the one who moves spreads the fragrance in the form of the gentle wind, which removes the samsaric exhaustion in the form of all kinds of mental afflictions. And so, Sanyami means what kind of a breeze? It's a controlled breeze. Sanyami means the one who has a say over the mind. That is what is called Sanyamin. So the Sanyami is the one who has a mind that is not swayed. Even though the person is in the form of a gentle breeze, the person is unmoving inside. Breeze in the form of the teachings wafts gently in the mind, in the exhausted minds exhausted by fighting with samsara, fighting with oneself, fighting with others, always battling, fighting with one's own resistance, fighting with one's own lack of shraddha. And so here, the Sanyami, the epitome of mind management, this one, the one who is able to manage the mind, manage oneself very beautifully, like a gentle breeze, spreads the fragrance of these lovely Upanishad flowers all over the garden of the Atma. Very beautiful. Very, very, very nice. Next one, let's see what that is there. Is the next one. Next one is very nice. It's now the yogi is still in the garden, I think. Yeah, no, not garden. We have now moved to the forest. Okay. So first in space for 3 verses, then in the garden for 1 verse, and I think we'll come back to the garden, but right now we are in a kind of a forest. Not even a forest, a grove, a sacred grove. That is what we have to visualize. And what is the yogi? A peacock. The national bird of India, the king of birds, peacock. See, this is how you have to visualize. You can't, write poetry if you're visualizing the yogi as a sparrow. Small little thing, No. If you visualize, it has to be rich. The yogi is an unusual thing. The peacock is an unusual bird. That's how it is. Big bird, colorful bird. So this is how the yogi is like a peacock. Let us read this one. Let us start this one. निःश्रेयस सरस भले निर्मल विज्ञान पल्लव मनोज्ञे भीत भये विपिन तले यतिशिति कंठो विभाति कोप्येकः को अपि एकः यति. Somebody, someone somewhere could be possible. Actually, he's talking about himself and all other jnanis. But because of his humility, one person. Because this knowledge everybody does not get very easily because of the proliferation of raga, dvesha and resistance. And so therefore, one person somewhere gets this knowledge, and what does this person, who is this yati? Yati Shitikantaha. Shitikantaha means the cool-throated one. And this blue-throated, cool-throated one, what is that? Peacock. So the peacock, Vibhati, shines. Where? Vita bhaye vipinatale. In the forest of no fear. Not a forest, what did I call it? Grove. In the grove of no fear. In the fearless grove. So in the fearless grove, Vipinatale, underneath the fearless grove, the peacock moves around. This wonderful peacock in the form of the sage, in the form of the mendicant, moves around in this grove. What kind of a grove? Free from fear. So why should I go there? What is there in the form? What is there? Nishreyasa sarasa phale. Sarasa means full of juice, juicy. So the juicy fruits of moksha are there. That's why the yati is there in the
There might be some problem. Swamiji sent. We'll just wait for her to join back.
Sorry about that. I'm back. Some little connectivity problem. It went away, but now I am. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Please give me the privilege to record this. Thank you. No need to make me post. You can just give me the privilege to record. go next to the name there, and then you can say.
It's okay. You can
allow.
record it now. Yeah.
Oh, now we can record. Okay, thank you. So this is the. I don't know where we left off. Let's go back to the text once again. I have to share the text again. Give me a minute. Yes. So this is what we are on. Then so the fruits are liberation, moksha, and the nirmala vijnana pallava manogni. Pallava here we can take leaves, or we can take it as flowers. Okay, yeah. So leaves or flowers of knowledge of oneself as free of all kinds of afflictions. That is the knowledge. So the knowledge of oneself as free of all kinds of afflictions, they are the flowers. And then what is the fruit? Fruit is the result of this knowledge, that the flower turns into the fruit. So the flower is knowledge of oneness, which is free of being any, being this body, being this mind, etc., being confined to being confined by time and space. So this knowledge of oneness, the knowledge of liberation, those are the flowers, and the fruit is the liberation itself. So in this wonderful knowledge of oneness, which has its fruits of liberation, the Yati peacock wanders happily in the grove of fearlessness, rests or shines or rests in the grove of fearlessness. Rests in the grove of fearlessness, and we can imagine like a sacred grove, and it rests in that grove of fearlessness. That is what it is, this wonderful peacock, which is the ascetic. Because the peacock is, you can make it out, it is there, and that is a very, very nice. Then next one, let's see what the next one is a swan. Okay, peacock ho gaya, finished. And now we come to the swan metaphor. Again, a very famous metaphor, very much famous, is used everywhere. And so swan, here is called hams, and a sage is called paramahamsa. So that's why there is a nice pun. And Hamsa is actually not a swan. Hamsa is a mythical bird which was accredited with the power of being able to separate milk from water. A bane for all Indian milkmen. Okay, yeah, who are supposed to give half and half. In India, half and half means something else. In America, half and half means half cream, half milk. But in India, half and half means what? Half water and half milk. Half and half. So, if you give this Hamsa half and half, it will siphon off the milk and leave the water. It has that ability to do that. How clever it is. And so, it is revered and it is compared to the sage. Paramahamsa is the sage. Why? Because the sage also has the ability to take the Satchidananda and throw away the Jagat. Like yesterday we saw, like the earlier class we saw, like the loofah, like a dried out gold. Yeah. So it is able to take the Satchidananda, we are able to take that which is the truth of this universe, which is the truth of oneself, which is Brahman, which is Atma, which is Atma Tattva, which is that which because of which everything shines. Satyam, because of which the whole Mithya world shines. The dependent reality shines, because of which does not depend on anything. This it's able to take. The sage is able to take and throw away the chaff of the Jagat. And that is why the sage is called Paramahamsa. So there is a nice pun also that goes around here. Nissara Bhuvanam, Nissara Bhuvanam, Nissara Utsaaryanandasarapurne Varasarasi Chinmayesmin Paramahamsa Kopi Divyati Swairam. Some Paramahamsa Divyati. Divyati can be shines, or we can take it as Kridati also. Plays. Everything becomes a play because one does not take the afflictions seriously as real. That which is real is that I which is free of all afflictions. So the afflictions are an as though projection of the Atma, so that it is not taken as real. So for the whole world is a playground for this kind of a ascetic. So the ascetic is like the whole universe is like a playground. You just play because you don't take anything serious. It's like children. So the children don't have any kind of huge fears and worries. They don't have to pay bills, so they can play with anything. Or small puppies, kittens. They don't have to say, "Oh, how am I going to get my cat food tomorrow?" They're not worried about it. So they can make anything into a toy. A box becomes a toy for a child, for a cat. They'll go in and out of the big box and then they'll play. And a small string, it fascinates them. They play. They play with everything. This is what happens. They play, and then this is how they will overcome. The yati he has overcome samsara by understanding that the whole world is nothing but a playground. And in the playground, you are happy, and the playground is very attractive. You never want to go anywhere. You just can be there in the playground all day. And so that is what this. So Kopi Divyati Swairam. Swairam means Swechaya. By one's own freedom, freely plays. And where does the person plays? Vara Sarasi, in the clear lake. Vara Sarasi, clear lake of sweet water lake. Vara Sarasi. Vara means Varishta. In a beautiful lake, in the placid lake, in the clear placid lake of Chitmaya, which is Chitmaya, Chinmaya. In the Chinmaya lake. Chinmaya means which is all Chit. Swarthe Mayat Pratyaya. Swarthe means this Maya, which is the suffix here, doesn't have any other meaning other than itself. So it is nothing but Chit, nothing but consciousness. So the consciousness is the placid lake in which the I, in the form of the Paramahamsa, the ascetic, who is enlightened of her own nature, plays freely. How is this possible to play? Because where was this ascetic before they became an ascetic? Nissara Bhuvana Marutala. In Marutala means desert. In the desert, which was Nissara, no juice. Dry, arid, cracked land desert, which is samsara. And the only thing to do with the desert of samsara is to desert it. This utsaranam has been done. Utsarati means drives off. So, utsarya, having driven off, having discarded, having abandoned, having driven off the desert from the heart. The heart is like a desert. Why? Because one feels deserted by everybody. One feels deserted by God. One feels lonely. There is nothing going on. It's all dry. And one wants to fill it up. One wants to plant certain things in the desert. Can you plant anything in the desert except cacti? No. And one feels all thorny like a cactus, irritable, itchy because of the sun, prickly like a cactus one is. And one is hoarding water because, one doesn't know where to get the next drop of water, when it will come, one doesn't know. And then what? And then one is trying to plant some other trees in the desert. How will that thrive? It will all die. So the heart is like this desert. For the samsari, for the ajnani, the heart is like a desert filled with all kinds of pains, sorrows, arid, and nothing wonderful going on. So, Utsarya abandoning the desert, driving off the desert with the cool rain of knowledge, then Ananda Sarapurne Varasarasi. So, one moves to occupy the lake of the placid lake of Ananda, which is all Chinmaya, which is all in the form of pure awareness consciousness. How does one to have this change of? Do you buy a ticket from Arizona to Colorado or something like that? What do you do? How do you go from the desert to a wonderful lake vacation? How do you do that? Well, through the train or the plane of knowledge. That knowledge has the power to convert this heart, which is akin to a dry desert where nothing grows and which is hopeless, prickly, annoying, fearful, and it converts that into into what it really is. The desertification is an as though projection, and what is under the desert is the cool water of consciousness, which is really the truth of oneself. And the yati, abandoning the samsara of this consciousness, freely moves in this wonderful in this wonderful lake. So we'll stop here. There were a couple of questions. I don't see them because I had to log on again. But maybe maybe somebody sees them and you can tell me that. Okay. Yeah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Do you remember what questions you asked? Is the person who asked the person or people who asked the questions still here? If so, please ask the questions again, because since I had to log on again, they have gone away. If not, we will close here and then we will meet again at India time 6 o'clock. Thank you. Om Tat Sat.